By maintaining driving force, the rider stabilizes the suspension and prevents abrupt shifts in traction. As the rider presses to lean, the side force uses up much of the traction reserve, but he still has the control he needs to take the curve successfully. Now that you're familiar with how traction is managed, let's see if you can determine what a rider is doing by viewing the relationship between side force, driving force, and braking force. In this situation, driving force is steady and side force is minimal. Suddenly, driving force decreases, and braking force on both the front and rear wheels increases dramatically. Notice that side force consumed little of the available traction. When would the traction users be shared like this? Does this use of traction represent front wheel overbraking? Braking effectively in a straight line? Or braking in a curve? If you answered braking effectively in a straight line, you're right. Front and rear braking forces did not use all the traction available, and side force was minimal, indicating that the rider could not have been taking a curve or changing direction. Let's look at another situation. Driving force decreases slightly and then holds steady. Side and braking forces are next to nothing. Now the driving force increases slightly and the side force consumes a large slice of traction. As the driving force tapers off, braking force increases while side force holds steady. Does this use of traction demonstrate overbraking in a straight line situation, a complex swerving maneuver, or braking in a curve? The answer is braking in a curve. As the rider approaches the curve, he slows slightly. As he enters the curve, he increases the driving force and leans into the turn. The lean increases side force. Now, while still in the curve, braking force is applied. Driving force diminishes, and side force continues to be a substantial user of traction. Are you ready to try again? Here we go. Driving force is holding at a steady pace. Now it decreases. After a moment, driving force increases slightly, and side force begins taking a substantial share of the available traction. Notice that braking force is held at a minimum, and the traction reserve is still a sizable portion. Does this represent a basic cornering maneuver? A rear wheel skid in which control is maintained? Or a rider making a tight turn? The answer is a basic cornering maneuver. Driving force decreases as the rider slows to prepare for the curve ahead. While entering the curve, the rider leans and lightly rolls on the throttle, causing both side force and driving force to increase. No matter what road you choose, maintaining control is your responsibility. Cornering and braking techniques are not mastered by simply spending a lot of time on the road. It takes purposeful practice to develop them into finely honed skills that are there when you need them most.